Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So let us start our lecture. We have to go through a lot of things today. It's a very cold weather. It is 11:15 a.m. Still 3 degrees centigrade. What is the Fahrenheit? 37. Okay. So let us go to our schedule phase. So according to our schedule, your test 3 will be in your next lecture, right? Okay, so please bring your KSU ID. Okay, and come on time. We'll have 45 minutes to answer maybe 4-5 questions. So in our test, we will cover, you see that it says module 1 to 7. It's cumulative, but actually mainly we will cover module 6 and one-dimensional array, part of module 7. So class, object and one-dimensional array, but you will have to use selection statements, looping statements in your array, and all other basic operations. So this is why it is said cumulative, or all from beginning to module 7. Okay, so yesterday there was a lecture, review lecture conducted by Jeff Sestin. Anyone had a chance to attend that? You attended, right? 1, 2. Okay. So I sent a link on D2L. Okay. So if you have a time, please watch that. And if I get a copy, then I will upload it on my channel, and you will get it. So, according to our schedule, this week was supposed to discuss two-dimensional array. But I took last lecture to discuss one-dimensional array, and I will spend some time today also to discuss one-dimensional array. Then I will jump to the two-dimensional array. My thinking is that if you understand one-dimensional array operation clearly, then moving to two-dimensional array operation is very simple. Only a few updates. Okay, so let us give attention for one-dimensional array operations. A few more things that maybe I could not cover. Okay, so if you follow my previous recorded previous lectures and today's lecture carefully, then you should be good to do very well in your upcoming test. So please give attention. So if you go to my Replit account, then you see that I have added few programs. Okay, so both in C#, Java and C++, like array example 4 C# finding range with method, and array example 4 same program in Java and same program in C++. Okay, so this one in C++, and I also added array example, previous example like 2, example 2 with Java, same program with C# and C++. I just want to go through this quickly. Maybe I want some of these in other sections. Okay, but I will go through quickly in your section as well as. Okay, so let us start where we stopped in our last lecture. So in our last lecture, who volunteered me? Your name is Mark. What is your name? Huh?
I volunteered.
What is your name?
J.
J?
Yeah.
Okay, J volunteered us. Okay, so we found an issue with C++. This issue is only for C++. So people who are taking C++ lab, give attention please. Okay, in C++, okay, so when we pass an array as an argument of a function, okay, that argument is considered as a pointer. This is only for C++. handling pointer as a nightmare for C++ programmers. So this is why Java and modern other languages, Java, C Sharp, and other languages, they avoided pointer. Okay, so here what happens, so if we pass this is an array as an argument to my FineMax method or FineMin method or FineRange method, whatever is method is that, no matter. So we cannot pass an array to a method's argument like this. Okay, because when we pass and we do an operation of an array, we need to get its length, right? So we cannot calculate our length, right, the normal way that we know that how to calculate length of an array like this statement within our method. So for instance, the solution is that we will pass another argument as the length of the array, and then here we will just use that length, and whatever we need to calculate max and min value or range, I will go through max and min value and range, how to calculate that quickly again. Okay, and in my main method, when I call that method, for instance, when I call my FineMax, FineMin or FineRange, I will calculate my length here in my main method, caller method. So this statement will work fine here, but not in the FineMax method. That was the issue that we found. So here we will calculate length method, L or length, whatever is say, and we will pass that length over here. So then if I run this program, it should be well enough to calculate our max, min value and range value. Okay, if we run this, then it should be good. Okay, here is my min method, is my max method, is like the integer type, it is returning an integer value max, and min method, it is returning an integer type min. So and my FineRange method, it is recalculating the range by calculating min and max freshly. But here what I could do, I could call the max min and FineMax or FineMin method here within FineRange method to call this, to calculate FineRange quickly. Or I could even call I could calculate the range method by calling like this, FineMax, like this. My range equal to FineMax minus FineMin, right? I could do this way. So let me put a parenthesis. Since it is possible to use, because this method returns a value and this method returns a value, so whatever value this method returns will be used here, and what value this method returns will be used here. So this will be my range. So it will work over here. Even I could use this statement here in this. Instead of writing all of this code, I could write this one line over here. Okay, so please practice it. Okay, C++ people, get my code from here and practice this. That is the thing that we need to do it. But life is easier with Java and C# people. For Java, we do not need to use another extra variable to calculate the range. Since Java does not have pointer, so easily we could pass an array as an argument of a function. Okay, so for instance, if we work in this program to find the range, so this is my array over here. I can pass this array directly, and this method, it calculate the range, it calculate the max and mean. You can extract mean and max method separately, but I have all together, and we can pass this array over here. So one thing that you need to give focus here, we are calling this is an array. Okay, we will call this array by its name. We cannot use this symbol as well as here. It's array symbol. Okay, we cannot use this. Okay, this is wrong. So this is this code in Java. Anybody has any question? Please get my code and practice it. Okay. Okay, and for C# people, exactly same. Okay, C# is exactly same, but we know that in C#, this is C++. Okay, C# is exactly same. We can pass an array directly. We do not need to use another extra. So we can calculate that length over here inside, both in C# and in Java. Okay, the difference, only difference in C# we need to put L is in uppercase, right? And in Java L is in lowercase, and then we know that in Java we will use system.out.println instead of control.writeline. That is the difference. So please get this code and do some practice. Anyone has any question? That's good. So okay, I want to spend next 10 minutes to review the one-dimensional array again if I missed something in your previous lecture. Give attention, please. So if you give attention here, then you will be good to answer your test 3 question. So here, this is an array. My array name is marks, right? It is a one-dimensional array. It has 5 elements. So this decoration is good for both C++ and C# languages, and as well as for Java. This format, although this code is in C++, this decoration of array, it works for all languages almost. And we are discussing C++, C# and Java. Okay. So here, but we discussed that finding length in C++ is critical than C# and Java. So we already know that. So once we have our length over here, so let us think that we want to count, let's start from here. We want to increment each of the elements by a certain number, like 5 or 10. So I want to increment this by 5, then it will be 6. I want to increment this by 5, then it will be 7, then it will be 8, it will be 9, it will be 10. The code is very easy. Okay, so we need to a loop. The loop will go through from the beginning to the end. Okay, so this is my beginning, I equal to 0, and the last index, and we want to increase each element by 5. So this code is marks I plus equal to 5, right? So that means marks I equal to marks I plus 5. So if my original array has elements 1 2 3 4 5. So then what it will be printed here? It will be printing 6 7 8 9 10, right? So I'm increasing wall elements by 5. It's simple. Okay, anyone has any question? So for instance, if we want to give, like for instance, how do we do? We do sometime carving or give extra point or bonus points in your test. So this is what happens. For instance, we do, if we do push a button, click, give 5-point carving or bonus. This happens. Now if I want to give a message that we say that okay, so we have given 5-point increment, or we increased 5 points. So the message, where should the message go? Within loop or without, outside the loop? The message or print message should go outside of the loop. Okay, if you put any message inside the loop, then it will be printed like for instance, for this array it will be printed 5 times the whole array length, right? So if we want to give a message, for instance here, that message must go to the outside of the loop. For instance here, wall elements are increased by 5. Okay, so if I give this message outside of the loop, so it will be printing. Okay, so here, so sorry, this is here I give inside. Okay, if I give it inside the loop, you see that it will be printing every time. Okay, so then I want to print this one time, then where should I put this? Okay, so outside this for loop, right? So here this is okay, this here actually this is my for loop. This is the for loop start. So this starts for loop and this is end the for loop. Okay, so if I give like this way, so you see that it is giving me again and again. Okay, 5 times it is printing, but I want to print it one time. So this I need to give outside of this for loop, right? So now if I print this, run this program, it will be printed only one time. This one. Okay. So now, for instance, did I discuss this? How can we display only even elements? Did I discuss this in your section? Discussed? Okay, let me go quickly. How can I display only even elements? Then I will, whatever I want to do with elements of an array, I need to go through the index, right? Okay, so for index will start from 0 and it will go length -1. So this is length -1. Less than L means length -1. So, or more precisely, I could do equal sign over here and then -1 over here. So this statement is equivalent to, if I say less or equal to L -1, this is exactly equivalent to less than L, since my L is an integer number. So if I say marks I modulo 2 equal 0, that means the number will be divisible by 2, right? There are even numbers. So I want to print those numbers, even numbers. Okay, this is the printing of even number. Okay. Now if I want to find the sum of the even numbers, then it's easy. I need a variable sum, and when I do some operation of an array, for instance, if I want to find summation of an array elements, then this is a common point to remember. Okay, an important point. you need to initialize your sum variable by 0. Okay, so for instance sum will be 0, starting my initial sum is 0, then I am doing this looping. If I find that marks I modulo 2 equal 0, this means if my elements are even, then I will update my sum equal to sum plus marks I. Anyone has any question? Okay, and if I wanted to make sum of the word elements, what would happen? What do I need to do?
Make it equal to 1 and the F8 modulo 2 to 1.
Yes, only one thing. If I want to make sum of the word elements, okay, so sum of the I want to make word elements, what change I need to do? Either equal to 1 or yes, or not equal to 0. If I divide a number by 2, then remainder will be either 0 or 1. The same thing, right? If I say not equal to 0, that means definitely remainder is 1, right? So you can say if equal to 1, then we will get the elements of odd elements, right?
Don't you want to do a not equal 0 because 2 will always be 1?
So not equal to 0 means equal to 1. Same thing you can do.
2 is an even number. If you divide it by 2, it's 1.
Modulo 2 is 0 though.
If you get a modular operator is 2, then your remainder will be either 0 or 1, nothing else. So if it is 1, that means odd number. And if it is 0, then okay, then 0, then this is even number. So for instance here, this one here, you can say not equal to 0. However you understand, that's good, will give same result. Okay, now let us think that if I want to give attention here, if I want to find the elements that are located only even indices, not the even numbers. I want to find the location elements that are on even indices. The like for this is even index, right? 0 and 2, this is even index, and 4 is an even index. I don't care whether my element is 0, is even or 1 or what. Okay, I want to make sure that my indices are what or even. Okay, so how can I say that located at even indices? So here, instead of checking whether my element is even or what, I will check whether my index is even or what. Okay, so if you get your question, carefully read it. I think you will get enough time, 45 minutes for your test. Okay, but just read the question carefully. If you understand the question for the upcoming test clearly, then it will take few minutes to answer. Okay. Okay, so then if I say I modulo 2 equal to 0, okay, it is equivalent to I modulo 2 not equal to 1, right? This is similar thing. Okay, and we know that. How about the 0th index? We know that 0 modulo 2 equal to 0. So 0, although there is no value, mathematically 0 is considered as an even number. Also 0 means nothing. Okay, now if I want to find sum of the elements located in even indices, so then now I need sum. So then if okay, if I want to I changed here, right? Maybe this one. Okay, so here I need another variable, sum of even indices. So one thing, remember that when you want to make summation, then you must initialize with 0. Okay, so then you will update. So if you get even index, then you will update your sum of even this variable. That's it. So I like you to practice. So I have codes written in all languages, C#, C++, and Java. So according to your favorite language, please copy my code and you can run and practice. If you do practice, then you will be good in test 3. But if you do not practice, just see code, just go through this code or try to memorize, then you will do some mistake and you will lose point. Okay, but one thing that I am mentioning, that if you want to find sum, then you must initialize by 0. How about if you want to multiplication, if you find the multiplication of all of the array elements, then you must need to initialize by 1. Otherwise, if you initialize or do not initialize this, it may be initialized by a garbage value, or it may be initialized by 0. It depends on language to language. So then if your multiplication, this initialized value goes to 0, then all of your multiplication will go 0, right? So here we are multiplying. So here, when this is the rule, that we need to use the addition identity is 0, additive identity is 0, and multiplicative identity is 1, right? So this is the common mistake, a common mistake for programmers. Okay, please give attention that you will not do this kind of mistake. Okay, and another thing is that the last thing I want to discuss, if you want to find max or min, then you must initialize your max value or min value by the first element, not by 1, not by 0. Okay, 0 may work only if all of your elements are positive, then 0 may work. Okay, but if you think that if your array contains some or all negative numbers, okay, so in that case finding max or minimum will not work with if you initialize it with this only by 0, by like this 0, it will not work. Okay, so this is another mistake that new programmers do, that if you want to find max or min, you must initialize your max or min value by first element, right? And here we are initializing the first element for max, and then we will start the loop, checking the loop from next element. Next element has index 1, right? The second element. You can start with 0, but 0 is not necessarily here because you are checking 0 over here, putting 0 over here, so it should be 1. So for finding max, what we do, we initialize our first element as my initial max, and every time what I do, I check the next element, starting from next element. If my next element is greater than by my previous max, then I will update my max, right? Okay, and likely reversely, for find a minimum value, I will initialize by minimum value by 0, first index, and I will check the next, starting from next elements. If I find my next element that is less than my previous mean value, I will update my mean value. So if you initialize properly max or mean with this first index, then it will work for all arrays, no matter the elements are positive or negative, or mix of positive or negative. Okay, so then if we get max or mean, then what is the range of an array elements? Range is the max value minus mean value, right? My range will be max value minus mean value. Okay, anyone has any question? Yes.
Yeah, line 47, the way you did the output for range, so that can bypass.
Line 47 is blank.
Completely, right?
Line 47 is blank. What number?
48.
48. Yeah. Okay, 48. I am doing two way. Both I can call the FineRange method. Whatever I have my FineRange method, it calculated my range freshly, starting from beginning. Okay, starting max equal to max equal to first index, first element, mean equal to first elements. If I am checking if I have any update in my max, and I am getting my mean, and I am getting range, and I am returning range. So as we know that if a method returns a value, right, that method can be used like a variable of that type. So this method returns an integer type value, right? So this method can be used as a integer type value.
Right, but you can completely disregard that if you use line 48 instead, right? You don't even need the range method.
No, I can do like this way. For instance, I can call FineMax minus FineMean. Then it will give me a range. Both way it works.
Save a bunch of it.
Yeah. So the range. Okay. So I need I worked with C++. Actually, I learned C++ maybe about 20 years ago. And I worked in a company. I worked sometime with C++. But this is a long time after I have been working with C++. So C++ has some like more difficult ways. Like for instance, handling an array. When you pass an array as an argument of a function, we need this when we go to the next week, searching and sorting operations. We need this. Okay. So in our next Monday lecture, we will discuss more. We will discuss two-dimensional array with live program. Please do not miss Monday lecture. Upcoming Monday lecture, okay? And maybe the next week will be the only week we will get before our Thanksgiving break. And by this time, maybe we will finish almost everything. Okay, so next week we have to cover two-dimensional array and searching and sorting operations. So anyone has any questions so far? So if you do not have any question, that means you understand. Okay, if you understand this, then you should be good for your upcoming test. Just 3, okay? How many minutes I do have?
15.
Okay, 15 minutes should be a good time. Let us start with two-dimensional array and list. Okay, so two-dimensional array. I already downloaded my slides over here. Okay, there are 66 slides on this PowerPoint file. Maybe I will go through about 50 in 15 minutes. If you understand one-dimensional array, then understanding two-dimensional array is very simple and easy. Okay, even if you give attention for the next 10 to 15 minutes, you will understand the basics. Okay. So by the way, your test two-dimensional array will not be in your test 3, but will be in your final and in your whole life if you want to work as a programmer or software engineer or work in any computing profession. Okay, so a two-dimensional array is like a table. A table contains some values. Okay, a table has some cells, so a table contains some values. The location of each value is called cell, and a table contains some rows and some columns. So rows these are the horizontals, like rows 0 to 6 over here. So how many rows we do have? 7 rows, right? Like in one-dimensional array that has the start index from 0, like a two-dimensional array start index from 0. Okay, but a two-dimensional array is different from a one-dimensional array, that a one-dimensional array has considered only one column. Okay, this is column is vertical. Okay, so this is column, these are first column, second column, third column, and rows are horizontal. So I'm not a native English speaker, so in our childhood, how do we remember sometimes we confused what is row or column. So we taught in a way that when we read newspaper, we say that column 5, okay, page 1, column 5. These columns are vertical, or more likely we understood that way that a building is built with some columns. Columns are vertical, right? If you look back, that there are some columns are vertical. Okay, but I think as an English speaker you will not have that kind of confusion. But if you still have confusion, then you can remember that columns are vertical. Yes?
Could you actually go over one of the older exams from the FYE website?
For one-dimensional or two-dimensional array?
What was that?
For what?
So we could practice for the test?
I did practice for test. Test practice I did previous few lectures, right? Previous 3, 4, 5 lectures, and today in the first half of this lecture I discussed about. Are you late or you just came here? You just came here or you are from the beginning? Okay. I discussed the previous about old exams. Yes.
I think we're just trying to say that we went over the old exams. That was before,
For two-dimensional array?
that was before we went over 1D arrays, so we didn't really review 1D arrays on the exam. We just went over.
I went through one-dimensional array from test maybe. In your section I did not go through? Okay, so if I forgot to go through one-dimensional array discussion, so I'm sorry, then you can go to my lectures, recorded lecture on another section. I usually teach at 9 a.m. in the morning. I discuss this. So this lecture, old exam. Okay, I went through this. Okay, or if I have time, then I can go through again. Let me see. Let me go back quickly, then I will maybe 5 minutes to spend there. Okay, so the difference between a one-dimensional array and a two-dimensional array is that a one-dimensional array has only one column. A two-dimensional array has more than one columns. So here there are 7 columns. Okay, so starting from 0 to 6, and rows are 0 to 6. So, but when we count cell or indicate cell, we will go row number first, then column. So this is row 0 and column 0. This cell, okay. This cell has row 1, column 1, and this cell, when we start from row until we finish the all columns through that row, we continue, and when we finish that row we increment the row by 1. So for the first row you see that all of this row equal to 0 and column is increment 0 0 0 1 0 2 0 3 0 4 0 5 0 6. Okay, and similarly it will go 6 6, that is means the last element, and this is the first element. And if we draw a line from the first element through the last element, that is called the diagonal line or diagonal elements. Okay, so creating a two-dimensional array is simple. We need just one more extra square bracket, and in the square bracket we will give the column size. First value goes for row size, second value goes for column size. Okay, and there is like one-dimensional array. In two-dimensional array there is a little bit difference between language to language. Like in Java we use two square bracket, one after another, two pair of square bracket one after another. Here is my grid, is a two-dimensional array. It is integer type array and it has 10 rows and 20 columns. Okay, if we declare this same array in C#, you see that there is a little bit difference in C# is that we use one set of square bracket array symbol, but we use comma in between to distinguish the row size and column size. So that is the difference in C# than Java. Okay, and C++ is way different. So but you see that in C++ we do not need this and new, and it is very simple, but it is more likely in C#. So actually C# is invented from C++ with the concept. Okay, so this concept works for both three languages, C++, Java and C#. Okay, so these are the very simple that we can implement this. Okay, so once we get this, okay, so here how can we say can anyone please help me to tell this, what is the address, or how can I read this element? What is the address of this element? What is the row number and column number? No. Yes, third row and fourth column. There is a common misunderstanding that if you say the row 2 and second row and third column, there is a mistake. It is the third row and fourth column, because all rows start from 0 and columns start from 0. So if you want to assign a value like 42 on the third row and fourth column, so this is the intersection of third row and fourth column. We will have this intersection, a cell. If we provide this value to this cell, then we will go here, and a cell contains only one value, and the latest value it will provide. Okay, so this is in which language, this format? Can anyone please tell me? Okay, and okay, Java, and this is in Java. But if I want to make it in C++ and C#, what do I need to do? Instead of this, I need this comma. Okay, so we need to, it's called multidimensional array. If we have more than one dimension, it's called multidimensional array. For instance, this array has row and column, 2 dimensions. Okay, if you want to develop a game that has to work with a plane, like a monitor screen or a tabletop, we need row and, yeah, you please wait, I will discuss old question in 5 minutes. Then we need to use a 2-dimensional array. Okay, but if you want to develop a game that will discuss the, like for a position of an object or your mouse pointer, both width, height, length, width and height, then you need another dimension, right? another dimension that you, so if you understand a two-dimensional array, you are good to understand a three-dimensional array or four-dimensional array. So this is a declaration of a two-dimensional array that has 4 rows and 4 columns, right? Then how many cells we do have for this array?
12.
No,
4 by 4.
16 cells, right? Okay, that's good. What is the last index of this last cell address?
3.
Grid 33, right? Last cell will be grid 33, right? Okay, so here this array there are 16 cells. The first index will be 0 0. This is the first index. First, if we say the first element of a two-dimensional array, this is the first element. So then if we say the second element, which one will be the second element? For a two-dimensional array, if we say the second element, that will be this one, 0 1. That's good. But for a second one-dimensional array, if I ask you the second element, so this will be the second element for a one-dimensional array because only one column, right? So this is an interview question. So maybe you will be asked to show a calendar or a periodical table, and if you are asked, so that you are shown this table and asked what is the value in second cell. Okay, don't confuse that this is second, this is not second, this is the second. Okay, so traversing or array operation for two-dimensional array is very simple than like a one-dimensional array, but we need another for loop, an additional for loop within my another for loop. Then this for loop is called an inner for loop, and this for loop is called an outer for loop. Okay, so the inner for loop it start later but it ends fast. Okay, the outer for loop it start fast but it ends last. So when we get a packet through Amazon or eBay delivery, our items is wrapped in a packet, then that packet is wrapped in another large packet, right? How the packets are wrapped? The inner packet is wrapped fast, then the outer packet is wrapped, right? So this is similar. So if you understand then if you see that there are the next slides are showing how to traverse a two-dimensional array. This is simple. As soon as we go to the last element of a row, then we increment the row count and we go to the next row. And by the way, and we will go through all the way end. So in this case our last element will be this one, row 3 and column 3, right? And in our next lecture we will discuss how to traverse or do array operation for a two-dimensional array. Okay, we will do this, we will discuss this in our next lecture. But okay, so if you have time, if you wait for a few minutes, I will discuss any old exam if you have an interest for array. So if we say our first year experience page, okay, old exam. So okay, so let us go to the spring 2019 and test 3A. Okay, 3A, let's go over here. Okay, for array operation, this is class decoration. I discussed this old question in our previous lectures. Please go through there and let us see the array question. Okay, so this question is array. Okay, so this question is question 4, number is related to array, is one-dimensional array. So it says imagine that you have an array of an arbitrary number of bank accounts balances called account balances. This is my array. Okay, you have been asked with completing the following tasks for your boss as proof you can work with the data. So what is the task? The value of the 59th slot is incorrect. Change it to 37,500. So this is my array. So what do I need to do? I need to make 57 slot. What is my 57 slot address? 50? So sorry, 59th cell. Here is called 59th cell. Yes. 58 equal to what? I need to provide this amount, but I cannot put $sign, I cannot put comma. Okay, so here I will put 37500 and then semicolon if your language permits, but you cannot give comma over here, you cannot give $sign over here. That's it. Okay, and for this one is asking print the index of the all accounts that contains less than 30,000. So what do I need to do? So I need to say int, or I can use a for loop, for int I equal to starting from 0, right, to I less than my array dot length I plus plus. What do I need to do? Print okay, so sorry, I need the if condition, right? Okay, if account balance I, so for less than, right, less than 30,000, again I cannot give comma over here, I cannot give $sign over here. So if this is true, then I will print this. Since it is only one line, you can wrap it with a square bracket or you can skip it. Both will work. Let me put it here. That's it. Okay. And let me see, the last one is done. Okay, anyone has any question? Okay, thank you so much.
So I'm the one that emailed you, we talked about engineer for the test file. Did you want me to like take it?
Did you send me an email?
Mm-hmm.
Did I reply you that if I take tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm meeting. Email it out tomorrow.
So then your final exam will be covered. There is no way.
Oh, so originally you said to like take it.
Yeah, no, today you cannot take it. Tomorrow, the time that you can take it.
Okay, well, I emailed you about this because originally you said that.
Yeah, what is it? Did you reply email me?
Yeah, but you never like responded to that.
I
part
never
of the
responded to.
email.
What is your email address?
KCH